Hello and welcome to my recap of the semifinals in the European Pro Qualification Tournament 2023. This was a best of three match between Lucas Potpera and Dominique Beauvais. I'm only covering one side of the semifinals today because the other ended 1-1. And tomorrow morning, or in a couple hours after this video comes up, will be the third match between Jan Samara and Benjamin Tuber to decide who faces the winner of this match in the grand finals this weekend to become the next European pro player. This is a very important tournament to the players playing in it, and in general to the Western scene as a whole. Who becomes our next professional player is very important to us. Lucas Potpera was the favorite coming into this tournament. He's been in many Pro Qualification Tournament grand finals, but he hasn't won one yet. Let's take a look at the game. Let's see how it went. Okay, Lucas Potpera was black, Dominique Beauvais was white in this game. Lucas Potpera has a sort of territorial style of play, and Dominique Beauvais has a more influential style of play. So we can see from the start here, Dominique Beauvais plays a Taisha variation, which Potpera dodges by just taking the territory in the corner. This is a well-known Joseki, where at the end, white has a lot of influence and black has a lot of territory. This is just as both players want it. So Potpera continues with an approach. Beauvais backs off. Potpera takes an enclosure and Beauvais extends. Potpera plays a normal Joseki. So far, everyone has just played Josekis everywhere. And this is the first move that's sort of different. It sort of starts the middle game. Potpera is saying he wants to reduce the white potential influence on the bottom side while he builds something of his own. It's sort of a waiting move, but of course every move is patient in the early middle game. One of Lucas Potpera's strengths, he's also known as Lucan, by the way. I might slip up and call him that. Lucan is his online name. One of Lucan's strengths is a sort of gentlemanly go, where he waits and waits and waits for the other person to do something slightly uncharacteristic, out of order. He points out why, hey, that wasn't quite well-mannered of you, and gains a couple points, and he tries to take that advantage into the end game and win the game. That's his most favored style. Okay, in this case, Dominique Beauvais responds properly with just a normal AI move, taking the enclosure, and Lucas takes the left side. Beauvais takes an extension on the top, and yeah, Lucas plays this Knight's move. It's quite an interesting move. Normally, we see people play shoulder hit. Everyone knows how to play against the shoulder hit, play with the shoulder hit, all that. Instead, Lucas wanted to mix things up, play Knight's move instead. And it's asking a question to Wait whether you want to take this bottom side territory or instead fight for the center somehow. Beauvais chooses the bottom side. He plays Knight's move, and Potpera pushes. Beauvais responds, and Lucas just tanukis to take the corner in the upper left. Okay, Beauvais wants to grow his influence, so he plays this large Knight's move. And Potpera once again, gentlemanly approach. He plays the shoulder hit. He says, you can have that if you want, or you can fight against me, then you're the one who's going to start the fight. Always, it's you, it's not me. I'm just going to stay here and allow you to back off if you want. Okay, so Beauvais takes the side. And now, Beauvais has Sente. He plays this Sente move, and he plays Hane here. This starts a common technique, which White can use to cut off the center in this Joseki. So White manages to make a cut. Okay, so it seems like this is still the end of the opening, and we're moving into a middle game, right? But actually, I would say Lucas has already won. This game is almost over, considering that it's Lucas Potpera playing. Why? Because White was too passive in defending the bottom side and defending his right side. When you use an influential strategy, you have to then make it under-concentrated so that you can claim to more territory than you should rightfully be allowed for that amount of stones. But the amount of territory that White has on the right here and that White has on the bottom side, This is just fair. This isn't especially good for White. This is just fair. And considering that White has super strong positions, if he can't fight with them and he just has a fair amount of territory, he just has less value. If you compare it to Lucas's positions, he has the upper right in a very normal way. He has the bottom right in a very normal way. And the left side for him is somewhat under-concentrated. If this all became black with that amount of stones, it would be a scam, right? All of Lucas's positions are fair or slightly under-concentrated, which can only also be fair. But White has some positions where he has less than he's supposed to have on the bottom and on the right. Even in the upper right, these cuts are very annoying for White. Usually that's going to end up being trouble. So at this position, Black has, according to AI, already like an 8-point lead. And it's also exactly Lucas's favorite type of game to play. So from here on, Lucas will just lean, build something, reduce White. White needs to do something. He comes to invade, he wants to make something happen. Lucas plays this nice peep. If White would respond, then Black would get to attack his one stone really hard. So White chooses to try to defend it like this. But making this ko, I also made this mistake just last weekend actually. You think that making this ko makes you a bit stronger, but actually it just makes you a bit heavier. Now when this White group gets swallowed, it's even more of a burden to bear. So it's yeah. it's another bad exchange for Black. White tries to build something and break Black a little bit on the top side, but that too, not very effective. Black manages eventually in this game to get some cut in the corner. You can see he's even playing defensive moves. He just defends his group in the 3 stones there. He knows at this stage of the game, he will win this 99% of the time. And this game is, yeah, it's all but over already. There are some small mistakes made. Like you could argue this one, it should have been protecting against this this co-creation that Dominique made. Then the ko was sort of interesting. Eventually, Lucas traded away this corner. He just fixed the ko, took all the left side, and allowed White to break the upper left corner. And at the end of the day, that result is just fair, and the left side is not fair. That's too much for Black. So clearly, Black leads the game. Black leads by about 15, 16 points. They play all the way through the end game, but nothing will really change. And the final score is going to be Black by 15.5. We could look at this in more detail, but it's not really a game anymore, to be honest. And this is a great example of Lucan's greatest strength. This is why I looked up to him for so much time, and why I think of him as the gentlemanly Go player in Europe. Just a couple of things where White was a little bit off in direction. Lucas gets a small lead, and you can't take that kind of lead away from him. He's so good at holding on to it for the rest of the game and just winning, not giving you any chance. Okay, so this was a really good game for Lucas Badpera, but Dominique is a strong player himself. He made it to the semifinals of the European Pro Quals, and there's another game to play. It was a best of 3. So let's check out the second game, a lot more competitive. Let's see what happened. All right, here we have game 2. Usually, players in the style of Dominique Bovis have a much better time with Black because they can set up an influence more easily and not get into the same trouble that he got into last game. So let's see how he starts it this time. He played Sanrinse. And when White approached, he played the Takamiya Kosumi. You never see this these days, but Dominique liked this move before AI, and after AI came out, he researched it and he realized it's only a little bit bad. White gets about a 1.5 point advantage in this opening, and normally White has an advantage anyway, so it's totally fine to play like this. Lucan plays the correct way in response, which is attached like this, and then Hane under, like so. Now the White group in the corner is okay, but Black has influence. This is the kind of position which Dominique wants to play. So he can play a big extension in the upper right and say that the whole right side is under-concentrated. Lucan has to come in and fight, and that's exactly where Dominique wins his games, is by attacking a group that comes in to reduce a moyo. Now Lucan just encloses for now. He's patient. There's no reason that we need to jump in right away, even if we would have to jump in eventually. And Dominique makes a double approach. They play a common Joseki in the bottom left, and Lucan approaches that big enclosure in the upper right. Dominic continues by building. It's quite threatening because the right side is, if that was all black territory at the end of the day, it would be way too much, right? Lucan pulls back one time, making sure that his stones don't get weak first. You can't reduce or invade if you have a weak group nearby. It's just too much. Then black plays another pressing move. All right, so Lucan has to do something. He plays a 5th line shoulder hit, reminiscent of AlphaGo, you might say, but also just a natural thing to do when you want to reduce this kind of moyo. The technique that is most useful here is to swim in it somehow, to just have your stones have a lot of directions to run and keep running them out whenever they can become weak. And as you swim, to use your opponent's weaknesses to help propel yourself forward. So in this case, he's saying, hey, you haven't quite taken the right side yet. Please give me some more stones to help me reduce the center as you take the right side. So Dominique complies one time, but if he would continue complying, it would be just like the last game where he ends up too small. He knows now this time he has to fight. So he plays a pincer in the center. It's a great move, putting Wei under a lot of pressure. Where exactly can Wei run? Then Wei tries one time to the center. Dominique encloses it, mostly. And Lucas takes a move on the side. It's sort of like an approach to the 4-4, except, of course, contextually it's very different, because we need to save our group, and this move is trying to get ourselves some sort of base on the side as we do it. Now, black can play the kick. He's trying to deny the base as much as he can. And white plays the shoulder hit here, the jump. White is sure not to become too heavy with any of his stones. Of course, if you would just play extend up here, then you can feel that the white shape is very clunky, right? It's too many stones just to connect in that area, and without very much of a clear eye space at all. So instead, he chooses to play more lightly and try to make a bigger shape here. He plays Hane, and he actually plays attach and connect here, forcing black to fix, so that then afterwards Lucan can fix on the side. So this white group is looking to make 2 eyes pretty clearly. But actually, this was a small mistake in technique. Normally we don't want to use our opponent's weaknesses like this, especially when we have another weak group nearby, just from the outside when we are saving our weak group like that. If we have no punch to the end of our defense, then it's better to defend by ourselves without accessing our opponent's weakness. So it'd be better to start, for example, with this one, where if black tries to peep, then we can try to cover ourselves and just make some base on the side by ourselves. Then black has still all the weaknesses in the center, and white can save this group without giving black a little bit more pressure and territory outside. So this way, actually, Dominique Beauvais manages to take some small advantage, because he just presses this group outside, he forces it eventually to spend moves inside, like this one is securing an eye on the side, so that white will have an eye in the center and an eye on the side, very clearly. Actually, white shouldn't have been so straightforward. It's a very small move, this block on the first line. We would prefer to have lived with something like this, where we make mi-eye, 2 eyes in the center or 1 eye on the side. Then we could have more pressure outside, we could maybe run more, but Dominique Beauvais is kind of scary when he's on offense, and so Lucan just wanted it to end. He wanted the group to be clearly alive. I can see its 2 eyes. You aren't going to mess with it, and that's that. However, this kind of very strong language can be inefficient, and black has an opportunity now to play some sente moves and go to a big place to take some control of this game. He chooses to play on the bottom side. However, this was not really a great choice. This is Dominique trying to build another moyo. And when white cuts, trying to reduce it, Dominique expands again. And white pushes and extend. Then you can see Dominique has a dream that his center can be under-concentrated in the same way that I said before. These, if this whole area becomes black without very much white meddling at all, then it could be good for black. But to be honest, even still, This is kind of a fair amount of moves to spend on this area, so building it was not really that threatening, and White can pretty easily later on say that this area is not under-concentrated, but over-concentrated, Black's biggest nightmare. So instead of this, it would have been better for Black to immediately go and reduce the left side somehow. White understands this, so he prepares, he plays a forcing move, and Black connects, and defends his left side, in particular towards his potential weak group over there. Now Black should come in and break somehow. He plays this invading move, White blocks, and he plays sacrificing move. So his plan here is that even though White can block, and block like this, and even Atari, this sacrifice of one stone in the corner has given Black a lot of power on the bottom side, which he can then use to save his one stone. And he wants to now put the White group in the bottom left under pressure. So he saves like this, and White plays here. And then, for some reason, Dominique Bovies ran to the center here. I think he thought if he saves, that White would cover somehow, and then it's somewhat of an awkward life and death on the side. However, this is just more points than this method. If you run like this, and White obviously should take the other vital point to defend by capturing some points on the side. In terms of the territory balance, it's just much worse for Black than it was a moment ago. And the power balance, White managed to completely save himself, and Black still has problems with his group. So this was not a very good direction of play. Afterwards, Black continues to build something in the center, but White simply reduces. He makes this exchange, setting up a Tetsuji later, and asks Black in that same gentlemanly way that he did in game 1, if you'd like to have it, you can have it. And Black says, yes, I would like to have it. And White says, if you'd like to have it, then take it. And Black says, yes, I'd like to have it again. But this is, this is really not okay for Dominique to play there. It would be much better to play just this, for example. If White pushes in here, the difference in Black's territory size between Black having blocked there and not having blocked there is minimal. And playing another move can have all sorts of effects, making a potential cut on this White group, making potential cuts on the White stone that's a large knight away on the bottom side, and in general preventing White from making any territory in this area later. So just being passive here is the same mistake that he made in game 1, where he's over-concentrating his influence that was supposed to be under-concentrated. Now, Lucan takes a moment to break the bottom side. Black tries to launch an attack of some sort, defend his group on the left side by trying to build some territory in the center, and Lucan just makes a push and an attack on the Black corner. Now this Black corner can save itself. First, Dominique makes this peeping move, and I think this is because he thought he was going to be able to run out and connect his group in the center, but actually that was not quite possible, so he had to come back and live. He can live with this diagonal move, but this exchange of the peep for the White bamboo gives White a lot more territory again on the side. So once again, White takes a territory lead in the game. White makes an exchange on the bottom side, asking Black exactly how he's going to live, and Black manages to make a living shape at the end. Now, if White would have, instead of connecting there, pushed, then Black can play like this, and this group will not die, although it may become Seki later. Okay, White plays the connect first, looking for Aji in the upper right. Black ignores it once, peeps, trying to secure some big territory in the center again, and White ignores that one. So he just directly uses these cuts to make some space for himself on the top side so that his group on the top, even if it gets cut by some method like this, as happens in the game, that group can live, and as that has happened, White managed to break into the Black territory. Once again, you can see Lucan is always emphasizing the territory balance in his game, and by doing that, a lot of the time, he's beating these ideas by Dominique Bovis. Now, against this, Lucan could have played a Tari down and block here, and there's nothing clear that Black can do to save to make this work well for Black, but there are a lot of things that are unclear, where maybe this ko will happen, and then Black will start making cuts, and cuts on the top side, and Lucan, I think, was a little scared that something strange could happen if the game went like that. So instead he played this extend back, which allows Dominique to break into the top side like this, forcing Wait to live the group on the top side with a jump. So now that group has an eye under the one stone and is going to have another eye where Wait has jumped to. Yeah, this was a little bit of a territory loss for Lucan, but I believe what happened is he counted and he realized that this way he can still win the game. He's leading by about 5 points right now. Dominic can press in the center. Lucan should block, try to stop Black from connecting cleanly. Black can still connect, but Lucan can save his reducing stone. Black has to block like this. And after Lucan saves, this becomes an endgame where Wade is up by about 5 points. And that, to Lucas Pedpera, is a safe win for the rest of the game. Actually, they played out the entire rest of the game, and at the end of the day, White won by 5.5 points. There were some small mistakes, maybe up to a point size throughout the end game, but nothing that could shake the game and allow Dominic to win. So even though Dominic had a better opening this time and a much better shot at beating Lucas Pedpera, I think you have to see Lucas Pedpera's prep when you see this game as well. He knew exactly what kind of mistake Dominic is likely to make, that he would over-concentrate his thickness, and he continually asked Dominic that he would do so repeatedly on purpose, and won the game by using those small territory inefficiencies to his advantage. So we can watch the rest of the endgame here, but as a bit of a Lucan fan, if I may say so myself, I was very pleased to see this game. It seems like he's in good form, and I'm looking forward to the weekend where they will play Lucan and the winner between Jan Samara and Benjamin Tuber. That game 3 of the other semifinals is happening in a few hours after this video is posted. I'm looking forward to seeing who's going to be our next European professional player. Lucas has wanted this for a long time. There are several stories. He once said he's going to jump into a freezing lake, and I mean freezing, if he won a pro qual. He said he's going to propose to his longtime girlfriend once he becomes a professional Go player. All sorts of promises from all sorts of chances to become a professional, and this is the one, I believe. At least, I'm a bit of a fanboy. So, I hope you guys can all tune in on twitch.tv/European Go Federation, or you can just search the Twitch Go directory this weekend. It's going to be very exciting, and I'll be back probably again next Friday. Hopefully videos every Friday from now on for me. Next Friday, I want to recap the grand finals. All right, I'm looking forward to it. Hope you guys are too. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.